Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we'll be talking about the mundane life, the solo RPG playing and journaling, and why I love mundane living and cozy content that doesn't have high stakes. And it's also a way to slowly make videos on why I am making content about zines, journaling, and solo role playing in one channel instead of separate channels. And this is one of them. So, in order to not get bored by watching my hands move, I wanted to color my book in. I haven't done it in a while. It was really big on TikTok for a while, but I think it mellowed out for at the moment. I'm not sure, but I really enjoy it. So this is what I've done. I'm using very cheap markers, like, I don't know, a few euros per small set. So these are the colors that I'm using. I like a limited palette. Let me see. Yeah. And yeah, let's just get started with the talk. So I'm starting a bit on a depressing note, but imagine if you wake up overnight and suddenly you can't move. Your everything hurts, and you end up having no job, no connections outside because you're in constant pain. You don't know what's going on. You're basically at war with your own body. You know, living normally is not a thing anymore. And you see people just moving on with their lives, and your life is just sitting there, laying in bed. And one day I was basically disassociated, I guess, but I was looking at my window and I felt a sense of comfort when I watch my, let me see which color. When I look at my window and see my tree, my fruit tree, I have a pear tree, and it's just the leaves are dancing in the wind. And because I used to do painting, I noticed the lighting of the art, the artistic world of trees, and how each leaf is catching the sun, how each detail is basically art. And I also looked at the clouds, how they are moving, and I realized how big the world is, because I am not able to enjoy the highlights and, you know, the big events that people normally have. And it was rough to accept that suddenly overnight. But the the world itself reminds me that existing is enough. And on that note, I will move on to talking about the Japanese people, I guess. So people can correct me. But one of the several aspects of why the Japanese culture adores the kawaii culture, the cutesy things, and cozy games that don't have a lot of high stakes. There's also an anime genre that's called isekai, and it can be varied. And there are some people who have criticisms on isekai, especially when it's someone overpowered and it's basically someone who is living mundane lives. Depends on which you're watching, but I feel like the Japanese people enjoy that because the work life can be very hectic. And when you're living in basically a chaotic life, the coziness, the cuteness, it can be a sense of comfort. It can be an outlet to embrace. It can be a reminder of the child within you. It can be a way of grounding yourself and appreciating the smaller things in your life in order to survive. But I'm speaking in general terms. I'm not saying that every Japanese person is going through this and that only Japanese people are going through it. But their kawaii culture is so big and it's very easy to look at them and see examples. There's also a movie that's called Perfect Days. And Perfect Days, I won't spoil the movie because I feel like the point of that movie feels a bit different from the point that I'm making. But at least at the start, it's about a man who has who is cleaning toilets, but he's enriching his life by having the small little things that makes him happy, like listening to cassette tapes. He enjoys drinking at a local bar and having fun with people, and just enjoying the small things in life, really living a mundane life. And it's very slow movie, but I really enjoyed it. And with journaling, I when I started journaling, I felt like it was a place to vent. I used to vent and process my traumatic events, because I didn't have an outlet. I didn't know how to process the pain that I was having at that moment. And I felt like I felt I was invading people by repeating my issues when they don't know what to do either. And I felt like journaling was my way of coping and feeling like I'm being heard. And then and then I started enjoying the process of journaling itself. So then I was making drawings, or I printed out quotes of Pinterest and cute pictures, and then just focused on healing. And that was really therapeutic. It was really enjoyable and calming. And still, I felt like something was missing afterwards. Because when I was looking at my journal, because let me show you an example. I have them here. So this is my first journal. I had a collection of journals, and I only used them in the way of being productive, but not really writing about my day, because it felt boring. It felt like I'm wasting my time because I don't have anything exciting going on. That's how I saw my life, and I can't even show you this because it's so depressing. So when I look at this back, it's like I feel the pain I was having, and I appreciate that I started doing this. And then I have this messy journal, but I grabbed some pictures from Pinterest, and it's something cozy, and I was just trying to heal. I'm not sure if I can give you a lot of examples, but I leave it at this because it's fine. You get the point. Let's continue colorway in. And when I look back at these journals, I really enjoyed looking at them and figure out who I am as a person, because I felt like I was also burnt out from daily activities and daily living, because I felt like one of the theories I had was my body just gave up from working too hard. Partly think so, because it's not. I feel like it's blaming myself for everything that I'm going through, and I don't like that. But it can be partly. But anyways, it's not really necessarily my body that's suffering from burnout, but it's also my mind. I really felt like I didn't know who I was, because I felt like I was living for other people. So looking back at them, it was like, oh, I recognized some patterns, and it really helped my mental health and mental well-being to notice these patterns. But I also noticed a lot of holes in both of these types of journals. So with venting, I only wrote down when I was venting. Oh, it's almost empty. My favorite one color. No, it's almost empty. Hold on, yellow, hold on. But either way, yeah. So with venting, it was only the major part. So when I was feeling really badly, and yeah, sure. And the healing one barely shared what I was going through on the daily life. It's more of a thing that I needed at that moment, but it wasn't really, a reflection of who I was. And so I was really thinking, like, what did I enjoy at that moment? What are the small things that I wanted to solve? Like, there are always some small things that I really wanted to explore, or what are my special interest at the time. What does what helps? What's me? What it's a bit hard to explain, but I felt like I really could have explored who I was, just based on reading back the mundane things that I enjoyed. And I did have glimpses of them. I did have glimpses of those entries in my journal, but it's not the same. And there, people are wondering why the mundane life and writing them down is important. I don't think it's really necessary if you don't want to. But for me, I'm noticing that historians and people who research the past are dependent on diaries, journals, ads, and even the grocery shopping lists. What you've bought really can give you. You can really reflect on what people were eating on a daily, and what that entails for the economy and the state of the of people at that time. And I feel like a lot of details are gone, because nobody recorded it, because education wasn't really a priority for people who are at the lower class. And so it's only after we learned how to write as a that's it's not a choice anymore for only a few people, is when we are getting more of the mundane stuff. So no more scholars, but just the average housewife, the child. Or when you are looking back at a teenager's diary 100 years ago. So when so for example, today I woke up and my husband has a phone, a big phone, and now it's not a big phone physically, but it's thick. It's a Caterpillar, and it's made for builders who are outside and don't want to have a broken phone because they are fragile and such. So he can drop his phone and it's fine. But sometimes when he drops, it's like a brick falling. And he was waking up, and I was still laying in bed, and his phone fell. So I decided to say like, should we go to? I said, should we go to Home Depot? He was silent and he was like, sure. And I said, yeah, because we need to fix the flooring because it felt like a brick. It can make a hole as a joke. And he smiled, and it's such a small little joke, and it's really not that exciting. But I felt like that small little joke can, make his life a bit better because he is working, and sometimes work can be frustrating. And I'm not saying that he is living a frustrated life, but I felt like that little thing can really lift someone's mood. That's why I often tend to compliment strangers when I see them and they have the coolest outfit ever, and I can't help but to, make that day by just, complimenting them. And then I also have my cats who are, very sweet to me and very excited to see me waking up and wanting to have their little snack. And one of my cats loves his meat and a little bit of cat milk, just a little bit. And the milk that we normally buy is not available in the store at the moment. So we were a bit nervous whether he likes a different brand because he's very picky. And he enjoyed it. He thought it was fine. So that was a small celebration. And my husband sent me a picture of the sun rising because he gets out very early, and it was beautiful. Imagine the sunrise from The Lion King, the animation, and you can hear the person saying, ah, it was that beautiful. And it's such a small thing, and it can really elevate your life, and especially if you are living a life that is, you know it's like carrying a bag all the time with a bit of sadness in it. And sure, you can ignore it, but it will always be there. So instead of focusing on the bag, you can fill the bag also up with the smaller joys in life. I will talk about cozy games, cozy books, and a lot of cozy stuff. Because now the world is a bit chaotic right now, and some people might not even notice it, and other people are like are having a rough time, and with work and such. And a lot of people use their cozy games as a way of having an outlet, or more of a they can just live in a world where they can have a joyous fantasy, where there are low stakes and nothing is really happening, and because their life is already hectic. But some people just enjoy the cutesy stuff. It's not always that deep. It's not always that uh, you know that chaotic or depressing. But a lot of people are carrying some sort of sadness with them. And and I play Stardew Valley, I play The Sims, I also play Zelda, like Breath of the Wild. I play all Zeldas, but Breath of the Wild especially, I keep going back to it because it's so calming for me to just walk around and just enjoy the scenery. So people can use it as distractions, but it's also just a matter of taste. It's also just, it can be escapism, it can be distractions, it can be whatever. But I feel like people don't really understand that when that complicated systems, playing Dark Souls, playing, Call of Duty, being competitive, and that's one way to elevate stress. It's one way to, have connection with people And but the other people are like, I just want to play as a farmer. I want to play as someone who is a who has a shop and sells stuff. I want to play as a cat who is exploring the world, or fishing, just fishing games, or doing um, do simulations of a life that you don't have or can't have. During COVID, I saw a lot of people are very interested in the world of people who are living alone in the woods, because during COVID, you're stuck at your home, and it's really fun to imagine, like, oh my god, if I don't can't talk with people anyways, if I can't do anything, I might as well live a cottagecore life where I am in the wilderness, have a cozy home, and just enjoying the nature, because yeah, that's a way to enjoy life. If you can't, you know if you can't talk to people and outside anyways, it's but yeah, people tend to forget the smaller details, the smaller struggles, their coping mechanisms, their escapisms. And I saw that a lot of YouTubers were very big during COVID because of these fantasies that they are portraying for other people. They still are popular, but I noticed that people have moved on from them. And but that is just one example of how humanity does things. Some people go to the cutesy things, and other people go to a more horror, to to get that thrill. Um, and with solo journaling, yes, we're finally talking about solo journaling, and the mundane is the same thing. I play games that are cozy. I don't mind some action, but for me, I can't, because I have a nerve. Um, my nerves are the fibers of my nerves are a bit hectic. So I'm sitting, standing, walking, using my hands, anything that my body does, it hates it hates it. And so I am wearing gloves, and I'm using I'm drawing with markers instead of pencil, because too much pencil can really drain my hands. But I tend to really I searched for a lot of hobbies that I can do, and that can be still fun for my well-being and for my hands. I find that journaling games gives me the same itch as watching Studio Ghibli films, enjoying the games like The Sims and such, but also you can really immerse yourself in that world instead of reading a book about it where the main characters makes the decisions. I can make my own decisions. And with that, it's very fun to play as a witch, or selling books, or doing the stuff that I can't do anymore, and to be able to do them, make my own decisions, and having low stakes. I'm not saying having no stakes, having low stakes, because I feel like that's a big difference. Because we tend to people tend to think that journaling solo games have no stakes, and it feels like a creative writing. But I will make a video about that, because I don't think it's the same. It can be used as that, but it doesn't need to be. And that it's like holding your hand, or it's very it doesn't feel challenging for people. There can be challenges. You can have challenges, and you can have simply a priority doesn't rely on the challenges and the systems, but more of a living in a world where you can enjoy the process of the challenge itself. Is really the living part and the enjoying the mundane part and enjoying the present moments. Like what does a wizard do in their daily lives? What do they do? What would their challenges be? What would what is things that they find mundane, but what can be very exciting for you as a you know what's fun for them? I don't have a lot of things to say anymore. I think that's very clear what I'm trying to say. I feel like the coziness and the needing a place to release yourself from the pain you have, or just having a different way of having fun, is something that can be underestimated. It's not everything needs to be your way of entertaining yourself. It can be very different, and it might feel like it's not that important, that special, or something like that. But it's still, I feel like it holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts to enjoy themselves in multiple ways. And for me, it was very practical, but also it felt really fun to just enjoy myself with these small things. I think this is fine. I don't feel like doing shadows or doing insane patterns or trying to prove myself that I'm good at coloring. It's just a coloring book. Let me see. A bit of a cheek. What do you think? It was relaxing for me. And it can feel hollow. I do understand the criticisms. It can feel hollow. It can feel boring. It's not for everyone. And for some, their lives are hectic enough. And they don't need more, chaotic stuff. And it can be feel hollow, but it's still, those tiny things can really elevate someone's joy. It can really make their day, because even if it sounds fake, that sometimes we say fake it until we make it, and it feels like toxic positivity. But in a way, sometimes when you're just trying to learn how to enjoy the smaller things in life, and when you're learning gratitude, it gets easier as it comes. And I feel like I really needed to train myself to have appreciation for the smaller things. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to have gratitude, how to really focus on the small things. But it's not something that it comes naturally to everyone. It really gets underestimated, and these smaller things can really elevate your well-being, your mental health. And it doesn't need to be buying things, but it can be. It doesn't need to be going outside, but it can be, going to the woods, or just laying in your bed and looking out the window, or just watching YouTube videos. It sounds weird to say watching YouTube videos, because these constantly being online can be very draining for your mental health. But it's how you use it. It's also I don't want to only focus on the physical things that I have, but also not the productivity things that I do, but just existing. And when my cat yawns, it gives me a smile. When my husband turns around in his sleep and just with his mouth, because he's deep in his sleep, and it's adorable. And this alone really helped me. And solo journaling and solo RPG and D&D, it's all can be a way to see how you are as a person, and they all have benefits and flaws. So that's all I have to say. I have talked a lot, and I am a bit tired. I should do that more often. I have so much things I can do, and that's all cultivated through really reflecting on what I enjoy, why I enjoy it, etc. So thank you for watching. I am exhausted. I'm not sure how people are able to talk for a long time and make podcasts and such, but I hoped you understand what I'm trying to say, whether it makes sense. If it doesn't, my bad. If it does, I hope you keep subscribe and keep watching my videos, because I will be talking more about the mundane life, but also about the connection between the three things that I like: journaling, solo PG, and zines. Even though the other two, except for journaling, are more new to me. Anyways, thank you again for watching. If you make it until here, this and this, and have a nice day. Bye bye.